Hello and welcome to another Hunty's Music Zine interview. Today I'm interviewing Ceej, aka WOLFEARS, in my first in-person episode. We had talked about doing one of these for Ceej's new album, WOLFPACK, and we just so happened to be both going to Anthro New England, A&E, so we just decided to do it in person / on camera. We talked about the new WOLFEARS album, WOLFPACK, the production and process of this album, as well as Ceej's music background, the performances they were going to be doing that weekend, and lastly, their involvement with indieAnthro, a furry music blog. Before we get into the interview, though, I wanted to announce that I do have a new physical zine covering some music from last year, along with snippets of these interviews, available now at double-dog.com. In a month or so, I will release the digital version for free on hmzine.com. But if you'd like early access to the zine, as well as a lovely physical copy, you can pick one up right now online. But without further ado, here is my conversation with WOLFEARS. Hello and welcome to Hunty's Music Zine podcast interview and everything else.
Everything else.
Welcome to the podcast, Ceej.
Hi, Hunty. What's happening?
Oh, we're just at A&E here. You were so kind as to accept being the first in-person guest on my show. So that's pretty cool.
It's really cool. It's just a vanity thing.
Yeah, you like looking at yourself in the camera.
I hate looking at myself in the mirror in the camera.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
That's like the photos folders full of just super vain photos of me where I'm just like,
yeah, I get it.
you know,
I get it.
you gotta love yourself somehow. And if you do that, but then also say, nah, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're here to talk about your new album.
Yeah.
But before I get to that, of course, we're at A&E, so I wanted to talk about your performances that you're doing here, especially the animal music concert.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love
How
to.
that happened?
So this kind of all started because this is exactly a year ago to the day. A&E 2024 was like a kind of a red letter thing. It was like something that happened, and what happened was at FurPoc 23 I met like Will Tricky Stoop and Ashley 9 Lives and a bunch of people who were like super into like the DIY furry music scene, and that evolved into Ashley hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to perform at A&E? And at the time I was like working on some tunes and I didn't know exactly what they were gonna be, and I was like, well, I could just release this now. So A&E came around and I was like, okay, well, I guess I could release this as like WOLFEARS, because for a while I was just like wearing like Beastar's Legoshi cheap Amazon WOLFEARS, because it's like, well, that's what I am. But it evolved into Sex Room 2024 A&E, which was probably the most insane sex room. Like, we talk about it now and we're like, why the hell did we do that? And
wall-to-wall people. There
was like no rule on masks. Like, a lot of people got sick afterwards, and more importantly, the sounds, like, I don't know, there was just like no set rules with like what the sound system could be. We were like borrowing from other people, and it was like really awkward because we had to give it back at a certain point.
Yeah.
So that was a really scrangly show, and I was no stranger to that, considering that show I was just taking swigs out of Fireball, a bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Fire.
Of course.
I don't want to be a Fireball stan.
No.
If I'm drinking cinnamon whiskey, it's gonna be with my man Jack.
You know.
Jack Daniels, everybody. But yeah, I straight up, like, I look back at that footage and I'm forgetting verses, because this was like my first time performing solo with my own music. I had performed like acoustic with singing before, but this was my first time actually getting out there and performing with just me, no net. And I didn't do any like vocal warm-ups or anything. So again, I went into it, I was just hammered, and I was trying so hard to just keep it together. I only had like 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
And that was like, I was just playing like stuff that I considered my demos at that point. So that kind of evolved, and that was like an eye-opener for me, where it's like, I feel like I can do this a little bit more professionally than just getting hammered on stage. So that eventually involved to like me sort of writing more material, and then just not really stopping and kind of fleshing out my ideas in real time. Like each con I kind of especially last year, like I could pinpoint like where I was at with what kind of a set I was playing. So like A&E 24, I was doing demos. FCL, which was April of 2024, I was doing more fleshed out material. I had a new single that I was promoting. And then AC, I was just like, I'm just gonna pull up, and like I really just want a place to like hang out with my friends. So I hit people up and was like, hey, I'm gonna just perform at the waterfront. There was a sex room happening, but like I just wasn't asked to do it. There's no beef.
Yeah.
There's no beef. There's no beef.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. What I ended up doing was I helped run sound for the sex room. So
yeah, and you did like little drums and stuff.
I did. Yes, I should say. Yeah, I didn't perform as WOLFEARS or solo, but I did perform with Keep It Together, as well as a little bit of Scuttle Fuzz, and then Ashley 9 Lives as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, more often than not, I was like, just like, yeah, like obviously there's sometimes you're not gonna get asked to play. It's like whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, like even every time there's like murmurings of like something new happening, I'm like, okay, cool, you can consider me, but you don't have to. I want to give other people the spotlight, and that leads us to A&E Animal Music. And guess who got the freaking spotlight? It's me, baby. What can I say? No, so yeah, what happened was Will Tricky Stoop ended up getting landed this like really good gig being like head of music for A&E music programming, and was like super like, hey, if you're going to A&E and you're performing, just apply. We knew there was going to be no sex room this A&E, it just wasn't the vibe. And so what we ended up doing was, well, I just applied on a whim, and I was like, here, let's see what happens. And then, yeah, Will was like, sure, whatever, you can do it. It's not actually what happened. There was obviously a lot of submissions that they looked over. And admittedly, I have to disclose that obviously I'm a Tricky Stoop artist. Like I'm releasing my record out on cassette through Tricky Stoop, but I'm the only Tricky Stoop artist on Animal Music. And that's like a very valid concern that Will had. Will was just like, I don't want to make this like a sex room thing,
or like a Tricky Stoop, a showcase.
Yeah,
sort of. Yeah,
even though that would be really cool.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
That would be really really but I digress.
Yeah.
So I got the offer, and I got the offer as I was in Glasgow, Scotland. And I remember, because I was on tour at the time, and I just remember just like putting my phone down and being like, ha. And then I kind of just went and walked around for a little bit. And then I was like, okay, so now I got to finish my record, because that was December of 24. So I had final mixes, but I was still like mixing the record as of that time. Wow. I brought my laptop to the UK.
Wow.
And like everything was done. It was just like final tweaks at that time. But what I ended up doing, I was like, okay, well, we gotta go now. Originally, my release date was the 14th of February, because it's Valentine's Day. Oh. And that's a beautiful day of the year.
Perfect date for this record.
It's a greeting card company holiday, I think, is the dude from Eternal Sunshine said. It's a company made holiday made my greeting card. I'm so sad. My girlfriend just erased me from her memory or whatever.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman has issues, but yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so like I don't know. It was just one of those things that was like a lightning bolt. Yeah. And I heard who else was playing. I was like, huh. Like they got freaking Spring Silver, which is iconic, just incredible artist, and just incredible like just individual in the scene, like doing everything for Funafest, gigging constantly, fucking touring, like whew,
Yeah.
like I'm excited to play, sure, but like I'm excited to see the other artists too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's also AJ Vega and the
Mm-hmm.
AJ Vega's Fuzzbutts.
Yes.
Fuzzbutts. And then also J La Flame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm forgetting one.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not. No, am I? No, that's 4.
There's you. Yeah.
J La Flame,
I think there's
AJ
one
Vegas,
more.
Fuzzbutts, Spring Silver. It's just 4.
Oh, okay.
At noon they have the Berkeley Anime Band.
Oh, yeah. Berkeley
The
band.
Anime Band.
That's very cool.
Which
That's
is
very cool as well.
cool. They have 16 members.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive. A chamber.
That's a lot.
It's incredible.
I'm interested to see what it is, and I've been trying to advertise the show, just being like, because technically the anime band doesn't count as whatever. But in general, it's like really cool because animal music is something that's existed in the past, but it feels like they're trying to do something new now.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. It's a really awesome, fun way to like kind of ring in the con. Like at FurPoc last year, 24, I played a Sunday afternoon, and it was nice because like you could talk to people about like the show and just be like, it's happening on Sunday, like it's gonna be great. Sunday is kind of this ethereal day for a convention.
Oh yeah. It's a good day for like a music fest, because I feel like most people are like out and about. They're running around like Friday, Saturday, or before. And so I feel like Sunday is a nice day to just like chill at the con, listen to some music, hang out.
You just
That's
chill.
good. That's good.
The dead dog dance is always like super fun.
Yeah.
FurPoc was kind of cursed, but I digress. I mean, the kind of like crash and burn of FurPoc's sex room kind of, well, it didn't directly lead to like the organization and structure of animal music, but I mean, it's certainly, I'm sure it was in the back of everybody's mind. But like, yeah, FurPoc sex room wasn't a catastrophe. It was just, don't try to do a show at a satellite hotel. It has to be the main hotel. Because you get people who are like, who is staying in Stamford, Connecticut? Who has their family in, and they're like, hey kids, let's get in the minivan and go to Stamford, Connecticut. Who is saying that? I'm from Connecticut, and I'm not saying, I hate Stamford. Stanford's train station is really cool. At night they have great neon lighting, and they just redid the station, so they have a really nice parking garage now.
Ooh.
We're talking about music. You can't.
I mean, we can go on about trains for days. So yes, we should rein it in.
I would be so happy about that.
Train podcast.
That would be great.
It's changing. We're new stuff. But you were on tour in December. I would love to talk about your like kind of peripheral music, as well as like, we could start at like where you started with music, because I love talking about like how people kind of found music and brought you to where you are now, especially in furry music, which is such a unique niche scene in the broader music scene. I know you're a drummer, so we have common ground. And I would love to kind of like, did you start with marching band? Like where did you start with? What happened?
3 words. Guitar Hero 3.
Sick.
For the Wii. Another 3 words.
Sick.
Okay, so no, I thought music was cool for the longest time. Like I listened occasionally. I grew up like none of my family were musicians, but my dad, like his favorite band growing up, like, well, just in general, was REM. And I was just constantly surrounded by REM, which was like a formative like band for me, because that's like music I would listen to and be like, this is different. Like as a kid, I was listening to cuts off of like Orange, like the happier cuts, like Stand or Pop Song 86. But as I grew up, I'll throw on Automatic for the People and then just decide to spiral in my living room couch. So yeah, I don't know. I listened to a lot of REM, and like I was discovering music the LimeWire way. And then eventually the FrostWire way. When LimeWire, who remembers FrostWire anyway? So that's kind of how I was like finding music. And the real thing that happened, the real issue, was Guitar Hero 3, because I remember distinctly my grandparents were like, sure, we'll go in and get CJ a new game for Christmas. And they made the mistake of getting me Guitar Hero 3.
Oh.
Because I distinctly remember booting it up for the first time, getting into Slow Ride by Foghat, and absolutely just being like, there's like a wire, like there's like, it was just like a lightning bolt moment. And then from there, I was like, this is good. This is really good.
Yeah.
But I actually started taking like group guitar classes at my community center when I was young. I want to say like had to have been like 7 or 8. And I fucking hated guitar.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, you're telling me my guitar teacher was like, who was fine. I don't know your name. I'm sorry, but like, you're probably proud of me now. Probably, I don't know. He's like, oh, you got to hold the guitar a certain way so that you imagine a golf ball in between your fingers, and that's how you hold it. And then from that day forward, I was like, no, I can't be told that this is the way to do it. So I actually learned guitar wrong, and now I wrap my entire thumb around the neck as opposed to leaving a gap.
Huh. Interesting.
It's just more comfortable to do bar chords that way.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah.
So I abandoned guitar. I was like, I'm just gonna keep playing. So Rock Band came out, and I was like, this is cool. Drums are cool. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. So I literally got a bunch of pots and pans, like in my basement. They were like random old lobster pots, and I set them up like on my basement floor where I was like, okay, this will be the middle one. I didn't know what this shit was. I was just like, this will be the middle one.
It's the big one.
They hit this a lot when it goes ta ta, and then I'll keep these, and these are the ones that go do 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 do, and I'm like, okay, great. And that's literally how I start. Like, people are like, oh, I started on pots and pans. No, I seriously did. And the issue now was I had rhythm game disease. So with rhythm games, they kind of subconsciously teach you how to, they teach you rhythm. Like, you have to be on your shit.
Totally.
So timing was such a great thing that I learned from those rhythm games. And then eventually I remember like ended up getting like a first act drum kit, and I was looking at videos of those like as of like last week, because I was having like a crisis where I was like, holy shit, how long have I been drumming? So this was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, like my if I'm sitting at the kit right here, like, and this is where my snare drum normally is. My snare drum was over here for some reason, and then my hi-hat was right here. My floor tom was all the way over here, and I didn't have a ride, but like I was figuring out Green Day songs on my own. It was a weird, no one taught me drums. No one taught me like, here's how you do this. I listened to Longview enough by Green Day to go like, oh, it goes, and like from there it's just I just started like playing out. Like, I just decided to like do more community center stuff with like community music, and just like gig with friends in the area and stuff.
Hell yeah.
And then that led to like performing in bands, and I worked like at a studio that was local, and that was like kind of the thing that got me to where I am today. Is just like I just exist around things, and I'm just like constantly looking to be around music in every way, shape, and form. So like being around people who are not smarter than me per se, but have more experience, because there is a difference. Let me tell you. I don't know what
it's good to surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable and or have experience.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Even if you're not around people with experience, it's good to just like vibe in the music scene.
It is.
The broader community. You
learn a lot. Even if you're just showing up to support, you learn a lot about how music works, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. But yeah, it was just like, just doing that, and then I developed like a good musician ethic of like how a gig should be run. Like it was like 15 when I started booking shows.
Oh, nice.
I specifically remember I booked a couple times now Sarah and the Save Word when I was like 15 or 16.
Really?
When they came through Connecticut. And I feel bad now because I was not like, I was like just booking them, and then I was like paying them like not a lot of money because like I just didn't know how to promote a show. I was 16 goddamn years old.
Oh yeah.
But now I look back and I'm like, wait, I just saw them at they just performed last year at A&E, and I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, they're great. If you haven't checked out Sarah and the Safe Word, you should. Absolutely. Great fucking music. That's some great music right there. Very queer, very authentic. It's the real fucking deal. I want to play a show with them, but I digress. Yeah, and then I just landed in a bunch of bands, and then I have ended. This is a very abridged version, but yes. Then now I'm gigging with a band called Perennial.
Yeah,
if
Perennial.
You don't know by now, Perennial is an art rock band, art punk. Rock is a funny term. That's what you find on the ground. Punk is a culture. Great. Oh. Now that we have that, we squared that away. Yeah. Perennial. That's a band that I've been seeing again since I was like 16 or 17. And I just was they were in the position where their current drummer just was like, I can't really make the commitment anymore. They do a lot of weekenders. So they hit me up last January, so probably around when I was getting ready for A&E. Nice. And they were like, hey, our drummer is probably not going to be able to do this UK tour. Do you want to do it? I was like, well, fuck yeah. And then they were like, well, our drummer's not really into this, like, he's basically a fill-in drummer now. He's a great drummer, but it's just not his thing, to gig out so often. So then I was like, okay. And just their ethic and their approach to art and music, just it's one of those things where it's like, I've been waiting for something like that all my life. Yeah. I've been waiting so desperately because you play in enough band. Like I've probably played in at least 20 different bands and projects, whether that's a gig or a project, whatever. Drummers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
drummers.
You everything. You have to be in every single thing.
Oh yeah.
You're so in demand. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just been an absolute pleasure. And also like they fit into that mold of like super artsy. So like we'll just like go to shows now, like on tour. Like there were so many people who pulled up who were like furries and shit. And I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. That's so cool. Super, super cool. I like whenever we're booking now, we have like avoid dates, and I always put in like conventions, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. And I'm like, yeah, you bet. Fucking cool. I was talking to somebody over in the UK for another interview. Mm-hmm. It's not a competitor, don't worry. They're a print publication. I
mean, technically this is.
Well, but there's a video.
No competition.
There's video evidence.
Oh.
There's video evidence. Yeah, so, and I was talking to them, and they were like, so, I'm going to do the accent. They say cheers a lot. Mm-hmm. So, Ceej, I can't believe it. So, are you the only furry in Perennial? And I'm like, yeah, of course I am. Like, what, and they're like, and they're okay with it. And I'm like, they know I'm a trans freaky queer bitch. Like, you realize that, like, like Chad, the guitarist, has almost thrown hands at like sound engineers who misgender me, like straight up. Like he's just like no nonsense. Like I'm gonna fucking protect my homies.
Real one.
Fucking shout out Chad and Chelsea. I fucking heart react. Oh, they're so wonderful. But yeah, I was just like, it's like a no-brainer. It's like this is a community, and like I'm in it. I don't know why. I guess with certain people, it's like furry leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but it's like it's 2025.
Yeah,
it's no longer like I don't care. Cringe culture, if it's still around, I would love it to be. Cringe, I would fit so well into cringe culture. I'm doing that right now.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where I feel like it's just as time passed, it became not necessarily cool to be a furry, but just more accepted.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I'm a little more like I tell my coworkers that I'm a furry, and I'm like, yeah, I got a convention this weekend, and they're like, oh, what do you do there? Like, do you go to panels and stuff? And I'm like, I go to panels and I play sex rooms. I don't actually say that because of Title IX. That would be a very awkward conversation to have.
Yeah. That'd be.
But I'm just like, yeah, I perform solo and do that. But Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, but yeah, that's how I got to here. Sort of. There's some gaps, but it's okay. We could fill them in later. It's
of course,
fine.
Yeah. No, that's a good overview. I appreciate that.
Of course.
We have a shared sort of experience in the fact that I mean, we probably have a lot of shared experience being touring musicians and shit, but so the way I got into like music that was different than like mainstream shit growing up was FCP Remix on Guitar Hero, because that song blew my mind. Yes. And then Fall of Troy became like my favorite band because like I talked to someone at my school who knew that band, and then they were in the music scene, and then I got in the music scene, and it goes from there. But yeah, I love getting introduced through Guitar Hero.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was TV on the radio in Guitar Hero? No, they weren't. Block Party. I'm thinking about that song Helicopter that changed my world. That was a really good song. I fucking love that song. Anyway,
so we should talk about your album.
We should,
because I could talk about music and the scene all day, but we're here to talk about your album WOLFPACK.
Yeah,
and how lovely it is, because it is a delightful piece of giddy romance and joy through love. And I love it so much because it's very cute and sweet and wholesome, and there's a certain nostalgia to it. I wrote that it was I got that it was like desire for like being better in love, having better love, longing for more time with a partner, the feeling of like disastrous and burning love, and like when you can't like get enough of it. I would love to know like what brought you to make this kind of album, or like this kind of music in general. And you kind of talked about it being like kind of over the last year. But I know you had some songs that were released on the EP you put out like a year ago. So I'd love to also talk about like kind of the time frame on like how you came about with all those songs.
Yeah. I mean, there's songs on that record that I literally wrote and recorded. My cutoff date for like no more song, I had to have a set track list for songs was like November, and I was recording up until then. I don't know. There's a lot of people who have seen me create in real time. I'm usually just coming up with stuff off the top of my head, and I'm lucky to record it or open voice memos, or I have like a micro cassette recorder too. Honestly, that I think it all started with, I really wanted to, because like I'm rubbish, to use a British term. I'm rubbish with love and like expressing my love. And people who are around me might be like, "No, that's wrong. You're such a great, wonderful individual." And I'm like, I can't really communicate that. So, well, at least I feel like I can't. So the way I kind of challenge myself is I just am like constantly inspired by people around me. And to answer that question, there's two songs. You're right. Kind of Love and I Will Bring You Flowers. So Flowers was the first song that I wrote for WOLFEARS ever. And that's a really special song to me because at the time I wrote it about a partner, and I was like, I can't explain to you why I'm feeling so like I can't explain to you why my love is so animalistic. I'm just gonna here you go. This is how I feel. At the time, I read a book called Wolf Song by T.J. Klune, and that is a very, very huge inspiration to me because it's an exploration of queer love, and it's also about queer werewolves and packs, and
very cool.
It's very cool. Anyway, so yeah, I wrote that one as my first song, and I was like, just experiment. I was listening to a lot of Mountain Goats, and I was listening to a lot of Mount Eerie, Microphones, whatever Phil Elfram wants to call his stuff. Love that guy. I love him. He sounds so good. My dream is to produce with him someday, but I digress. Or just be in the same room with him, or give him a firm handshake and say thank you and then walk away.
Yeah.
But
all of the above.
Yeah, so I wrote that, and I was like, and I gave it to that partner. I was like, listen, this is how I feel about you. And they were just like, oh. I'm like, but I wrote this for you. Oh, no. Okay. And I was like, give me a second. And then I wrote another song called Kind of Love. And both of the tracks, Kind of Love and I Will Bring You Flowers, are the original recordings. They're different mixes. So the demo EP version of like I Will Bring You Flowers has like a voice crack in the middle. I fixed that. Kind of Love sounded too thin to me, like the single, so I put it through I recorded it to tape and then back into Logic and then back to tape and then back to Logic because I'm a hoe.
Love that.
I'm just insane. And then I boosted like a solo or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I released Kind of Love just before my birthday and then just before FCL. And then I went to FCL and performed it at Sex Room. And I was like, this song, I love it. And I'm so happy that I could give this partner Kind of Love.
Aww.
We broke up that month. It was awkward, messy, and terrible.
Yay.
It was the most confused I've ever been in my life because I was not only battling dysphoria, because this was a partner who was like, I can't date you because you're not a woman. Which is a crazy thing to say to a trans person, but I'm sorry that I'm saying verbatim.
No, it's pretty wild.
Sorry, but yeah, it's true, and I was pretty heartbroken at the time, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to write songs. I didn't want to do anything. But the thing was, at FCL, my label representative, Will, hit me up and they were like, do you want to release on Tricky Stoop? And I was like, sure, that sounds like fun. I could probably whip out a couple tunes in a year. Totally.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. So that breakup like spiraled me into, I don't want to write anything. And then I met my current partner today, and let me tell you, really wonder. I won't say the percentage of songs on WOLFPACK that are about this partner, but it's a lot. It's a lot of them. I'll tell you, it's not Kind of Love or I Will Bring You Flowers. It's neither of those. So you do the math. There's 8 songs, by the way, in case you don't have the. It's okay. You don't have the track list. They don't see the tape notes or the podcast notes. But you have podcast notes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course. I've been on podcasts. I've hosted podcasts. I know about the podcast notes. Everyone thinks they're fake. They're real.
No, you gotta have them.
So yeah, I met this partner, J Noise Artifact. Wonderful.
Definitely not in the room with
Definitely
us.
not holding the camera, and every time I look, I'm just like, ah.
Thank you, Jay.
So I met Jay at FCL, and it was very funny because it was so close to like after my breakup, because my breakup was like, this was like a 4-year relationship. Ooh, wow. And it was like, I was heartbroken. So this was, I want to say, end of April going into May. Started talking to Jay, and I was like, hang on a second. So after that, I want to say May 15th, because I have the voice memo in my phone and I revisit it often. I wrote a song called what was it? A Wind-Up Toy, which became Player Piano, because I was like, life is too fucking short, and I had this epiphany where it's like, basically anyone who gives me any form of love, I want to give it back to them somehow, but I don't really know. And I just like this concept of like just a partner just kind of like spinning your fucking roll of a piano, of just like, here's the notes, now fucking play. And it's always kind of how I've wrote love songs, because it's like, it's genuinely like straight from the heart. Like whenever I'm trying to come up with material, I'm just like, there's no barrier. And so that's how like that tune came out. And then the rest of the year was dedicated to, well, I gotta have 8 songs, because that's my number for records is 8. Mm-hmm. Some people like 11. I don't think I think
No, I'm like a 7 or 8.
you should be sent to the sea.
Yeah.
The seaport. That's where we are. Oh! 11 is a bad number for tracks, but I'm not getting into that. 8's a perfect. You know what record has 8 songs? Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. The fucking what a fucking record. Anyway, how many songs does Abbey Road have? Okay, no, I'm not getting into it. I know Revolver has 14, so 13. No, 14. It has 14. And that's the best record ever made, according to people. It's a good record. It's really great. But yeah, the rest of the year was dedicated to just like, okay, how do I write love songs? How do I write love songs? But then I had the epiphany because I had written material so close to that breakup where I wrote a tune. It was just a progression. It was I Want to Swear, and I was like, I didn't really have anything. It was like kind of mid-tempo. It was going to be acoustic. And then I was just like, what if we made it punk and rock? And so it was really heavy. And then this started the phase of, oh no, what a tonal catastrophe my record became, because you have the first 3 songs that are like love songs. Oh, this is so adorable, queer love. And then you have like Flowers, and it's like, oh, this is so beautiful. And then you have I Want to Swear, which is just this assault on your eardrums of fuzz guitar. And really, it was just like, I don't know, I just wanted to fucking scream at somebody because I was just so confused at the time. I wasn't writing the lyrics actively because I always write the lyrics last. I'll have ideas. Like I had I had the phrase, I want to swear, I want to swear, I want to cut the lights off from your head, like stuck in my head. Like I would just hear it and I just was like, I don't know, there's no words coming out of that. Like there's nothing besides that. And then there's songs that I wrote in the studio because I had a co-producer in Matthew Sullivan, who is my childhood best friend, overall best friend. If I had a best guy at a wedding, it would be him and my homie TJ. Listen, there's beef. There's been beef. Never mind. I'm not getting into it. There's not beef, but I signed a legally binding contract that my 2 childhood best friends would both share responsibilities of being best women at my wedding, not best men. So they have to figure that out soon. But soon. I digress. Why do I say that? Anyway, yeah, there was a tune, like, just so you understand how fucked my writing process is. Matt and I spent 2 days recording all of the guitars, all of the vocals, and some of the Casio stuff that he, like, noodled on. Yeah. We spent 2 days on that, and then the first day was just, like, laying down tracks I'd already done before. So, like, I re-recorded some tunes. I didn't end up using it. Like I re-recorded Flowers and ended up not using it. I re-recorded Kind of Love and ended up not using it. So I was kind of like, something just feels off. So then like we started recording the new tunes and like stuff started to build up again. And then I was looking in a Goodwill just before I went over to record, and I found a Casio HT700. It's not a Casio tone. It's a Casio.
Interesting.
Just a normal Casio keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's like a proper synth engine.
Ooh.
You have ADSR functionality, VFO. Like it's a crazy thing.
Wow.
But I had like this lyric written from like, because I date everything like around my breakup, and it was like, I was trying so hard. I was thinking about the Challenger explosion where like a bunch of people died. They sent a fucking sorry. They sent a school teacher to space and she fucking died.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's pretty brutal.
So of course I was gonna write a song about it and make it about my ex. So yeah, I mean, I wrote something. I was like, your love is like the Challenger explosion was the only thing I had written down. And I like had this chord progression, and Matt and I were fucking around with like the Casio settings, and like we found this stupid fucking setting that was like boo 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 boo, and it's like that's what made the final cut.
It's so good.
It's so stupid.
but I love it.
Yeah.
And it had like this like it's a toy piano. And I just found it and I was like, can we record that? Like, what's that gonna be?
Yeah.
And then we ended up using it. Like the whole song was gonna have like the Casio drums, and then afterwards, to fix like my roadblock of like how was I gonna piece this thing together? Because like it's like the record has very distinct sections, but is still a record. And I feel weird calling it a record because it's only like 22 minutes and it's only 8 songs. If you have a record that's 12 songs in 22 minutes, that's totally a different thing entirely.
It's fine. It's a record.
That's a perennial
In my
record,
book,
baby.
in my book, it's a record.
Yeah. You could call it whatever you want it to be.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, because I was like, I like have like my first 4 tracks, love, 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 love. Next 2 tracks, sad, breakup, anger, and then like the last 2, it pulls you back to love. But like I was just like, how do I do this? And I just threw so many layers at the wall. I don't know. I just with that, I just was like figuring out also how to produce. And I was producing the entire record in the same project file, which was stupid because my computer would cry. I went out and bought a new computer to finish the record.
Oh my god.
Because I was working with like an old MacBook, and I was so frustrated at the end of it that I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, it's done because it has to be done. But I think it turned out really good listening back. I re-listened to it on the drive up because the person I carpooled with was like, if you show me your new record, I'll show you all the new material that I have. And I respect the fuck out of this individual. This is someone who I very much look up to. So I was like, oh. So okay. I listened to it. But yeah, I don't know. It was just like train of thought, like put my guitar in a weird tuning, play notes, and then if I hear something in my head and I can sing it, then I can sing it. But I've never sat down with the intention of, I'm gonna write a song, because every time I do that, I end up like watching a movie or going on a nice stroll. I got really into electric biking, scootering.
Oh yeah.
In my city, they sprout up like little plants of gentrification. It's a fucking insane thing to say, but it's true. Those e-bikes, they're doing nothing right now. It's cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
But
are you around here? I forget.
I am in the northeast. I am in New England. Yes, I am close to Boston. It's a good area being in Boston. But Boston rules. This is basically a hometown con to me.
Yeah.
Technically FurPock is technically, but Boston, like this, A&E is consistently good. Like if you look outside, you can see Logan Airport from here. Ladies and gentlemen, Logan Airport. Are we close to the airport? I don't know.
I think
we're not.
No.
Our producer is saying we are not close to the airport. Our producer just went,
I don't know Boston.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I'm eclectic.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should expect any less of me at all ever. Like, have you seen me live? Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I can't get a set together even, but I don't know, you know.
Well, with the production, I would love to just know like what all you use. I mean, I know you talked about like your Casio find, and obviously you play guitar and sing, and you play the drums.
Play the drums a little bit.
Am I missing anything? What all did you record, and what did you have like other people record?
I recorded everything except for off the top of my head. This is tough because when Matt was basically an assistant producer, because he and I love doing music together. We have a project, Balloon Fest 86. We have a record. It's also 8 songs called Apologies in Advance. It's a record that we released in, I want to say 2021. And it was like, we've been making music together since like 2016 or 2017, and we never like sat down to put anything out. So, we have this vibe where it's like, it's never I'm doing this and he's doing that. With this record, like I was playing 98% of it. There's 2 songs he played bass on. No, sorry, he played bass on 1 song. All I Want Is Your Love is his bass line. He is such a fucking smooth bassist because they're like the way he introduces the bass phrase in that song is so good. He actually laid down bass for the entire record. What we did for this release was I wrote all the songs, obviously, and then we recorded guitar and vocals at the exact same time because I just didn't want to do multiple things.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sit down and be like, okay, today we're doing guitars. Okay, now we do vocals. I was like, no, we're going to do it at the same time because that's what I do live. So we did that. And then what he also did was he recorded like Casio chords at the same time, or like little licks here and there. So like we would just throw shit at the wall and see what stuck.
Okay.
And then the final days of recording were I recorded drums to the entire project, and then he recorded bass to the entire thing, and then I cut most of the bass and drums except for maybe Challenger and All I Want Is Your Love. But like the bass was, yeah, I mean, it was mostly him. There was a couple things where it's like just I just wanted to throw down bass on it because it was specifically I Want to Swear. His bass playing is really great. I had a different, I just wanted to play root notes. He was actually playing too good. That's a genuine thing in music.
Oh, yeah.
Music fun fact number 72.
Especially bass. That is like
Yeah.
the number one area you'll see people go too crazy on.
Don't fly too close to the sun.
Yeah.
My favorite bassists are like just chilling.
Yeah.
But that's how we did it. And then I spent the rest of my days creating test mix after test mix after test mix for every single tune. And then it was like, this was all like home recording. So we were recording to Logic Pro. So I was just like tweaking stuff. Does this work? It does, but then it makes this part suck. And it was just like a back and forth with myself. Because like after Matt and I were done recording, it was just me. And just like whenever I had spare time, I was recording the record at work. Like I was recording distorted guitar tracks at work.
Wow.
And I was just like, it's really dead right now. I'm just going to whip up my laptop. And I just brought like a shitty M audio interface and was like, I'll record. So let's see what happens here. I'm just my mentality is like, let's see what happens because I don't know what I could capture. And then like later I did vocals, but the recording process was stupid. I would never do it that way again. I would go into a studio and, you know, if I had money, you know, it would be really great to go into a studio and perform, and I can write songs and people can capture that. It could be a school project. That's the easiest way to get free, nice sounding tunes. Is you hit up a college, like a senior in college. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
They all that's like the final project. It's like the professors, they kick their feet up. They're like, oh, just record a record. You got this far. Hit someone up. I know from experience, like that's just how it is. But
Record the furries.
Record the furries. Because so many people are doing really cool things, really nice sounding things.
Agree.
This is the Glass House. Ooh, that's really nice sounding. Yeah. But also, I love the things that are bad sounding.
Yes, I agree too.
Like
I love that about the furry
Yeah.
music scene. It's like there's the whole range. It's all there.
It's really good. I like everything. One of my favorite releases last year. I'm not segueing it saying that this was a bad sounding record. That would be horrible. Synanthrope, homie of mine, a coyote recorded Interspecies Erotica, which was this like train of thought recorded in one night stereo cassette mix of just a bunch of songs. And oh my god, the textures. Oh, I could only like wish to achieve something like that because I don't like, I have a tape deck, but I don't have like a way to record directly to it. It's just, okay, I'm going to take my little mixer, take it from Logic, put it onto tape, and it's like roundabout. But, you know, unfortunately, Tascam Tascam guys. Shout out, but also, why aren't you producing a new Portasound series for 2025? Think about it. It could be a combination tape cassette interface where you could record to either tape or you could print it to your DAW as a normal interface, or both, and you can do that. I'm giving you $1 million idea, but all I'm asking for is just like a promotional. I just want a promo copy of that because that's such a great concept. I'm sorry. Yeah. I could get into audio sounds. Oh my god, that's like the first thing I said when I stepped foot. I was like, don't get me started talking about audio.
Yeah,
because it's bad. Yeah. I don't know how to produce anything. I don't have any formal training. I am lucky to be surrounded by people who are incredibly talented and can lend their ear and just be like, why does this sound like this? I sent an early mix of Player Piano to Ashley 9 Lives, and they said back, this song sucks.
Oh no.
They said you shouldn't release this. No, they didn't actually say that.
I know they wouldn't say that.
You're right. They said it was terrible. they didn't say it sucked. No, I'm kidding. No, but like I would just like hit up friends and just be like, hey, what? It got really awkward towards the end because I was running out of people and I was just like, I don't want to spoil more of this record. And then I just decided to drop it early. So I guess I spoiled it for myself. But it's fine. But that was my tangent of something.
Yeah.
I'm reaching for my drink, which means I'm going to stop talking.
No, you're good. You touched on the production quite a bit, but I mean, it's a very like warm, tapey album, and I love that about it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is it mostly, did you get most of the like texture of that and like sound through running everything back through the tape? And like you said, like, did you do that with all the songs?
The sausage. You don't want to know how it's
you don't want
to. No, it was a combination of, no, I'm listen, I'll speak my truth.
Yes, please do.
I'll speak my truth. It was a combination of digital and analog.
Yeah.
So the WOLFEARS We're Here Right Now demo EP came about because I got a free plugin on Black Friday of 2023, and it was the Arturia Tape Mellify. That thing is my bread and butter. I am not afraid to say it. It's such a great plugin for everything. You put it on your drums, but more importantly, it introduced me to the wonderful world of tape saturation. So I use a combination of that. There's a wonderful plugin called Sketch Cassette as well. Sketch Cassette is great because it's only about $20. I forget who makes it, but really fun UI. It looks like it's actually like a sketched cassette.
I love that.
It's great because you can adjust like the wow and flutter like normal, but you can choose the tape wear, so like brand new tape as opposed to has been thrown into the mud, like generation loss for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But like you could choose type 1, type 2, type 4, master tape.
Interesting.
So you could do that. And then it was a combination of all of those into, I got a JVC like tape deck that the belt was just, belts don't like doing anything. They get all greasy and gross and then they go bye-bye. So I got one off of Shop Goodwill, and I just recorded 2 type 1 cassettes. So like my more textural songs, so like Flowers and Kind of Love, I did that because I wanted a little bit more warmth. I'm doing a lot of textural things and I'm focusing on texture because I'm not good with melody. I like to think I'm like a decent enough lyricist. Like there's songs of mine that gets stuck in people's heads, and as a little hypno freak, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is great. I don't have to do anything.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I just use a combination. You have to use all the tools available. You know, Claude Monet, when he went to art school, do you think they just gave him a pencil and said, Claude, first name, you can only use this pencil. And it's like, no, you use what you need to create your art. And like the last song, Wolf Song Part 2, I that was done in one take. The main guitar and vocal part done in one take in my apartment. I overlaid a couple other like vocal tracks and howling or whatever, like I usually do. But like that was that. And then obviously the end of it is just like turning a saturation knob like up and up and up, and then it just gets huge. And then like, of course that had to go to tape. How could it not? Like there's a very distinct difference between digital and analog saturation. I can hear it. I'm sure other people can hear it, but I'm not going to talk about it because we'll be here for hours. We would have to have an intermission, and let me tell you, you wouldn't want that.
We want that.
You wouldn't want that
Too much.
But yeah, I use a combination, and then I just use. I tried to use like no more than 4 plugins for this record. So like I chose a compressor that I liked. I chose 2 tape emulators that I liked, and then I chose I think that was it. It was like only 3 or 4 plugins because like I got bit by that disease of I'm gonna buy this plugin. You're telling me it's buy one get 3 free? Let's just use all the plugins. And then I plugin maxed and then forgot the golden rule. You have to record something good from the get-go, otherwise you're just throwing it all away. So that's
polishing a turd, as they say.
That turd's been polished. Let me tell you, I've heard some polished turds. Let me tell you, it's crazy. But I mean, you just got to do what you have to, and just use everything. Like just use it all.
Use it all, but not at the same time.
No,
use it like spread it out. Spread out the love. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this record is it is, I mean, out now as time of. Well, when this recording comes out.
Dropped early.
Yeah.
Who did that?
Surprise.
Who? What dumb fuck couldn't just wait? Give it like a month to like it's a Valentine's Day. It's gonna be great. I sent that. I made it live on Bandcamp on like a Thursday. I sent it to a group chat, and I just remember Will being like, "It's out," and I was like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you." But yeah, that was kind of my intention. Originally, I was just gonna drop Challenger as a single, but I dropped it early because I wanted, ideally, people to sing the songs for Animal Music. Well, but just like be able to promote it at. Like I did the same thing with We're Here Right Now, the EP last year, and then like Kind of Love I dropped right before FCL. So it's like, to me, it's a little promotional, but like gives me an excuse to write on a piece of paper, listen to this album, and then put it somewhere in a con space. And now I've evolved to really rude business cards.
Nice.
But I'm not gonna share them here. I'm not going to. They said naughty word. 2 naughty words. Wolf ears. Sorry, you were saying the record's out now. Yes, the record is out right now.
What otherwise, because I know you're putting out the tape through Tricky Stew.
Yep.
February on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
Very cute. Any other like rollout stuff that you plan with this album, like that you want to share in terms of like maybe music videos or like maybe other physical media?
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So, you know, when it's really late at night and you go to like those shopping channel networks.
Yes.
Yeah, so you've just entered one.
Oh.
I don't have any music videos, but ladies, let me tell you, right now, okay, just kidding, not right now. Eventually I'm gonna do run of shirts.
Yeah.
It's gonna have the a couple little wolves that my homie Scruffy Parker drew for me like way back when for like a ref sheet or something, and they're just like these really cute little wolfies. There's a couple of them on that shirt. This is Parker's shirt. He started screen printing, and he's phenomenal at it. This is a great shirt. Please run up fucking Parker, please. There's a lot of fun stuff happening if you do buy a record that I don't want to spoil because it's really cool. Because I don't know, I like seeing $1 go far, and $15 for a tape nowadays, it's not necessarily expensive. I got into a heated debate over the cost of a $40 single LP record. But I just want to make sure like people are getting their money's worth. So yeah, I'm doing shirts, which is really fun. That's the first time I've ever done a shirt. You can wear me.
Very cool.
What does that even mean?
Wolf hide.
You can. Oh, that's horrifying. Oh, I don't.
No,
brings new meaning to wearing somebody else's skin. But yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then no music videos. I'm in like a place where I have to. There's just gonna be a lot of life changes for myself in a good way. Where if I get to like doing new like music or anything like that, it would be cool. I could tell you right now that I'm not working on like a music video, but I wouldn't be surprised if I was bored one day and cooked one up on like VHS or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things where it, as a project to me, like I have Perennial as like my main band where that's where I fulfilled artistically with percussion. But like WOLFEARS is where I feel fulfilled with everything else. It's just like I'm not so good at like anything, so I can be good at that apparently. Some may say, many are saying.
I would say.
But yeah, that's basically it. So t-shirts, cassettes they're both gonna drop at the same time. There should be a T set. There's gonna be a T set. I want to do jazz tea time at a con so badly.
Ooh.
I've wanted to do that for a while because I'm a pretentious jazz head.
Oh, I love jazz.
Jazz is, who's your favorite?
Oh God.
Jazz. What do you mean you love you like some Ornette Coleman or?
I mean, I think I like a lot of jazz inspired stuff, or like stuff that's inspired by jazz, because like I'm a huge math rock head. So I'm like more in the jazz rock scene, that kind of stuff.
Got it. So like you listen to Bad Not Good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's like what got me into a lot of different stuff.
They're really fun.
Yeah, I mean that it's like a whole world within like the progressive rock sphere, because that like is like a huge influence for all that. So like I could go on and on about that. Trust me.
That's not to put you on the spot.
I've
always wanted to do that. What was I saying? No, sorry. What I meant to say, not T-set.
T-set.
Not T-set. T-shirt and bundle.
Oh.
No, T-shirt and cassette bundle.
T-shirt.
This is a new development. I can't actually speak. I once called a volume knob a volume knob at work, and I was like, I shuddered. So T-shirt and cassette bundle, and we'll do that. That'll be fun.
Nice.
I just again like. To me, it's weird. I don't want to really make money off of my solo music, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just like this
is to be more for yourself.
Yeah, and it's like if people are into it, that's hip. And if you want to support me by buying my record on Bandcamp, I'm gonna give you a hug, because like that's so fucking real. Like I made I was kind of deliberate. I went back and forth whether I wanted to release the entire record on streaming. It might this year, just because it's fun to drop stuff like that. But with one sale of the record, which is $10, I've already made more than a year of having it up on streaming.
Yeah.
And just in general, it's like back in the day, you'd go to FYE, which stands for your entertainment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to frequent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The youth section was great. I have vivid memories of like I would buy CDs and then I would burn them to iTunes and then just sell them back. And then
nice.
And then I would get more CDs and then eventually I would get DVDs. Yeah, but
nice.
I don't know what I think I was getting like SNL Best of Will Ferrell that I never watched. That was what I was buying from FYE.
That's great.
That and on release day, the Green Day record, 21st Century Breakdown, which I had to cut the parental advisory thing out of the little card inside, the little jewel case, so that when my parents took a look at it, there was no naughty stuff.
Oh.
Little
quick.
did they know they'd written. Never mind. I'm not
Yeah.
getting it. But yeah. I just want people to get something out of it. You know,
Totally.
like to me, it's like I'm gonna charge $40 for a T-shirt, and I'm gonna make $20 on every single goddamn sale. That to me, like that's not like at my core, I'm a DIY punk. So I'm like, if it's accessible to people, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really cool to just create art wherever, but
Yeah,
yeah,
rather have
you know.
people listen to it than have it be prohibitive through
yeah,
monetary. I try to live by that as much as possible.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very DIY or die.
Oh,
DIY. That's the reason I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
for music.
Yeah,
It's
for real.
it's like it's such a everybody supporting everybody else because nobody's doing something that somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
Yep. It
Yeah.
took a
It took me a
second
minute.
it took a second for me to realize what I was saying until I realized, that is what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
It
It's
is.
a beautiful
It's a
thing.
beautiful thing. I'd love to close off by talking about your like involvement in indieAnthro, the incredible music cultivation. Is that a good way
Yeah.
to phrase it in the furry scene?
Yeah. So indieAnthro, for those not in the know,
Yes, please.
it is a furry music blog.
There we go.
It's hosted trickystoop.com/indieanthro. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. indieanthro.com.
There we
It
go.
redirects. It might not. I don't know how websites work. Come on. Expect me to know how a website works.
Yeah.
So it's a furry music blog. It's completely just run by contributors. Like it was basically started Will Tricky Stoop, who go buy some Scuttlefuzz tapes. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. But Will has been doing Tricky Stoop and for a while had a playlist called Intro to Furry Music, and then one day was like, well, you know what, we can kind of evolve this and we can broaden this to just like something that's a little bit more in depth. So now it's very much like a bunch of collaborators just writing about furry music, new releases, especially just we're talking DIY. You have to have writers and people who are enthusiastic to support art and kind of talk about art, because the more people talk about it, the more people are going to engage with it and be like, oh, I'm listening now. Like to me, it's like if you're not talking about somebody and you bring them up to me, I'm going to be like, okay, who? Okay, whatever. But if that person is brought up again, I'm going to be like, I'm listening.
I've heard that.
And that's kind of where it is.
Yeah.
I'm the co-host on Stoop Talk,
Yeah.
where we've interviewed such fabulous guests as Salve the dog.
Yeah. I love that one.
I love Salve. Salve is such a goofball. Salve is fucking wonderful, but
it was a
so
great
cool.
episode.
It was fun. It was just unhinged as hell.
It was.
I wish I want to be as unhinged as that, but I physically can't because I feel bad as a host, and also but
yeah, you gotta
it's
rein
that.
it in a little bit.
you can't be like crazy. But so it's run by contributors. We have staff. It's a great place for people to try things out. We have one contributor writer, Cam. Oh, sorry, Cam. I forget your at. Oh no, we'll just put it in the show notes. And they basically they started as a really enthusiastic, like, I want to write about records. So wrote their first piece. And I don't know why I said it like that. So I just been seeing this person kind of grow from okay, I wrote about furry music, and now they're posting hey, I wrote a poem. Hey, this could be a song later. So you're seeing people realize that there's a creative outlet if you want it. I like having things in my life that's there if you want it. And indieAnthro is one of those things where it's just like there's curated playlists, not just the intro to furry music playlist, but there's furry and context playlists, electronica, punk, where it's put a little bit more toned in. So what I'm saying is there's no excuses. Like there's enough happening with indieAnthro, and we're not the only ones doing it. Furry Underground is doing it. Shout out Furry Underground. F you. That's what it's called. That's naughty. Guys, you can't do that. That's rude. No, I'm kidding. Those fellas are great. And it's like, I don't know. People are like, oh, what do you mean? There's more writers? What do you mean? There's more? There's a new blog. There's a new playlist in town. I'm like, great. That means there's more. Hello. How do you not realize that this is better for everybody?
Oh yeah.
So like that's like really cool. And just it's really hip. I gave kind of a non-answer. Sort of.
That was excellent.
Okay. I'm really insecure about my answers because I don't know.
Just general insecurity.
Oh, don't even get me started. Hold on. Part 2 of the podcast starts now. It's called my therapy session, general insecurity, and then we'll get to what's after that. Specific insecurity, conceptual insecurity.
Meta insecurity. Ooh.
Mark Zuckerberg, I'm coming for you, you fucking freak. He's such a freak.
I hate his new look. It's so bad.
The fucking glasses, dude. That's rude. That's rude. That's fucking rude. Take those glasses off. I'm sorry, I tried so hard to keep it together, but I didn't. Which is another great band. I just gotta shout out Keep It Together. Anyway.
There we go. There we go.
Term of phrase.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I derailed. This is my first time ever being interviewed.
I think you did great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great, because it's not my first time.
Oh shit. Freaking lion over here.
What can I say? I'm the wolf who cried boy. That's the liar story, right? There was like a boy who was like, there's a wolf, and I was like, you're tripping. That is not a wolf. And then when it was actually a wolf, the wolf probably ran away because wolves are unfairly scrutinized in most literature and portrayed as bad guys when it's like, if you look at... Never mind. I'm not getting into that. I could sit here for hours. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Don't get me started on wolves. Wolves are not mean, scary. They're just... They're big puppies. Wolves are big puppies, okay? I'll have you know.
But maybe don't like pet them unless you have like...
No. Do not. Do not pet a wolf. You can pet me.
There we go.
If I say you can. If you ask and I say, yeah, sure, go for it. But well, wolves are terrified of humans because like you just have them like hunted for generations, and that sucks. So they're actually very scared of humans. But it's a beautiful thing. Yellowstone got wolves again, and I've been seeing so many beautiful, beautiful videos of like the dude is driving down a road, and then this just giant ass wolf is just walking across the street. It's like, huh? Okay, whatever. Bye. And it's really beautiful. You gotta save the rules. Shout out
wolves.
New York.
Shout out New York.
No.
Shout out New York.
Sorry, no. The Wolf Conservation Center, which is a volunteer-run nonprofit.
Nice.
Okay, it's not volunteer run. There are volunteers there, but there's staff, and they surely get paid. They're a conservation center for wolves.
Lovely.
Believe it or not. Out of South Salem, New York. I've volunteered there.
Oh, cool.
It's really, really cool. They have I think 24/7 like cameras where you could take a look at the individual wolves.
Live feed.
Yeah, their main focus is the Mexican gray wolf. So like it's just a species that's not doing so well, and red wolves as well. You can't get me started on wolf culture. You can't. Sorry. I yield my time. Is that how this works?
Ceej WOLFEARS.
Me,
Thank you for being here.
hunty dog.
Yes, that's me.
Hunty dog.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Do we
Anytime.
have to sign off now, or can we just like scream and go like and then it cuts randomly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take
Okay. That's cheers. Cheers.
it.